Okay, here I sit in front of the piece of shit hay wagon. Well, actually, this is not the piece of shit hay wagon. This is a hay wagon that I built many moons ago. About the time Haley was born. Was it Haley? Yeah, it was Haley. So this wagon is 15 years old already. This wagon's been pretty much flawless operation. It just goes. It's not like that. It's not like the other wagon. But the one thing that I never did was put rails down the side. And with the new baler that I have, the rotary cut baler, the bales are so tight that when my father puts the bale, or when we load the bales, Dad's the one that's doing most of the loader work now. But when he goes to pull out of the bale, it slides off the end. And honestly, I didn't want to put this on here. I actually wanted to just cut strips, but he wanted these on here. So what that'll do is it'll create a bump. It's just an angle iron, just a piece of junk little 8 or 11 gauge, 1x1 angle iron. And I'm going to weld them down both sides so that they're, so that when he puts the bales on, he can just pull right out and it'll stop the bale from sliding off. It makes sense to me and him, and I wanted to do it years ago, and he didn't want it done, but now that it's, the old baler never bailed them as tight as this one does. So anyways, I got my MIG welder out, and I'm going to tack these things all together, and I'll just cut this off with the grinder, or Timothy can cut it off with the grinder, and we're going to go from there. So here we go. Phase 1, baby. Phase 1. Okay, so I got a little hectic yesterday putting these rails on this wagon, and this wagon I built it about 15 years ago. About 15 years ago, because my wife at the time was pregnant for my daughter Haley, so she's 15, and that's about the time that I built it. So anyway, oh shit, I missed one. I missed welding on the inside. Well, 15 years of rust and dirt and everything here. It's kind of shiny, but that doesn't mean anything. It means that it's shiny rust. That's shiny oxidized steel. So what that did was it caused me to have a little bit of problems like porosity, or Swiss cheese is what I like to call it. Let me see if I can find, I did actually clean it up a little bit with a wire brush so that it wasn't so bad, but you can see right here, and I'm sure if Chucky 2009 is watching, he's like, oh my god, that's shitty welds. Well, here, you're right. It is. I agree. Here it's really bad. You can see that Swiss cheesing. Now, doesn't really matter. It's solid, and all this rail does is when you set a bale of hay on the wagon itself, and you go to back out with the tractor and forks, all that's going to do is stop the hay from sliding off. So because there's not enough friction. If this was laying on, say, a diamond deck or expanded metal mesh, I would not have any problems with the bale sliding off, because there'd be a lot more friction to grab the bale. So this here is all the way across, and I suspect these are going to get all bent to shit. It's pretty normal for this type of stuff. Yeah, Timothy trimmed them up pretty nice so that they're not going to be sharp and kill one of us, lay us open. And yeah, that's it. So I did it on both sides. And yeah, up here on the front piece, where at the ends I did actually weld it to full length, whereas on yours I left, I only did about a couple inches on either side. And yes, the porosity or Swiss cheesing there is really pretty bad. Of course, I welded these, I butt spliced them together, and it was funny because when I welded one direction, like if I drug the puddle or pulled ahead, what was it? No, I pushed in to the puddle, I came across this way. How did I do that? If I pushed into the puddle, then, well, one way was it did this more prevalent than this. So if you could see this one here, I went one way, like I started here and I came in, started here and came in. But if I started here and went this way, it would Swiss cheese, which was really weird. Whether there was a draft and it was blowing my shielding gas away, I'm not sure, but it doesn't really matter. There's a lot of rust and dirt and debris in there, and that's what was causing that porosity. So anyways, but yeah, here it is. It's all together. It's all good. It's solid. And hopefully when we set a bale of hay on top of it and go to pull out, he can just pull away instead of having to worry about the bales sliding off the rails. And like I said, I built this wagon, it's got to be 15 years ago. Yeah, I know it's 15 years ago. I bought the steel. The running gear is a horsed gear. And the horsed gear, this is a 14-ton horsed gear. It needs to be a 25-ton gear. So this gear is probably on its last leg, only a couple more years of life left in it for this heavy of a service. But I'm always blowing out tires and stuff, so especially on the front because they're singles. So I put the heavy 16-1 tire on there, 14L 16-1 12-ply tires on the front, and we don't have any problems with those now. The back tires, on the other hand, we'll puncture those and they go flat. And but these things up front here seem to be working pretty well. But anyways, that's it for that. Yeah, hopefully you liked my silly little welding video here. It wasn't the greatest welding video, but it was a welding video nonetheless. Yeah, so now it's time to move on to the next thing, which is the sprayer. So if you like these videos, please comment, rate, and subscribe. And don't forget to check out onelonelyfarmer.com. The link should be in the description below, unless I forgot to put it there, which is pretty common lately. So, coming back at you later.